What's going on, dude? Welcome back to That Sound is Scary. Today, we are cracking open the most significant lore expansion in Evil Dead history, the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, and all its different forms, variants, and volumes. You've been lied to for years. We've been told that there are only three fabled volumes of Naturom Demonto, a rule of three established by narrators like Father Marcus Littleton. But Littleton only saw a fraction of the truth. If you look at the evidence, the Trinity is a myth. We are witnessing the resurrection of the original vision, a full blown hexology of the damned. If you want to follow along with the full history, just pay attention to the books because I don't know how to pull up pictures into a live stream yet. You don't have a problem with that? Oh well, don't care. As long as y'all can hear me, that's fine. I'm still new at this. So hey, I'm teaching myself. Okay. The Littleton loophole and 45-year blueprint. Remember Father Littleton, the priest on those scratchy vinyl records in Evil Dead Rise? Everyone caught his line about the three fabled volumes, but most people missed the most important word in that sentence. He said, "What I believe to be one of the three fabled volumes." That word, believe, is a clinical grade logic gate. It tells us that Littleton wasn't an infallible narrator. He was a researcher working with incomplete data. Oh, I lost my spot. So sorry for that. Yeah, this isn't a retcon, it's an expansion. Back in 1981, the original script for The Evil Dead contained a recording of Professor Nobi's stating there were actually six volumes found in the ruins of Kandar. The idea That idea was sidelined for decades, but with the upcoming release of Evil Dead Burned, the franchise is finally completing the 45-year blueprint. We are shifting from a trilogy of books to a hexology of horror. Six distinct conduits of the Kandarian demon, each with its own unique brand of hell. While many associate the Necronomicon exclusively with the Evil Dead universe, the concept was originally birthed from the mind of H.P. Lovecraft in his 1924 short story, The Hound. However, the Necronomicon Ex Mortis we know, the terrifying flesh-bound manual of funerary incantations, is a unique creation of the Evil Dead franchise, brought to life by legendary special effects artist Tom Sullivan. In the lore, this book is far more than ink and paper. It is a compilation of demonic prophecies attributed to the Dark Ones. I'll let you see a couple of pictures of one of them. Now, as you look at the movies, you can track which book is active just by looking at the Deadites' eyes and their behavior. Volume 1 from 1981, The Cabin. The OG focused on psychological torture and milky eyed Deadites. Volume 2, Army of Darkness, Medieval, focused on necromancy and skeletal legions. Volume, okay, so Volume 1, Volume 2, okay, Volume 3 is The Scribe. focused on bloodborne infection and the abomination. Volume 4, Rise, St. Pius, found in the City Vault Bank, focusing on urban mimicry and amber eye domestic perversion. Volume 5, The Burn Reconstruction. We have now officially arrived at Volume 5, Evil Dead Burn. We move into the snowy peaks of the mountains to encounter a version of the Necronomicon that isn't a bound tome at all. It's a DIY binder. This is a reconstructed version. The secret plot reveals that a family that didn't just stumble upon evil, they spent 3 generations tracking it. Their grandfather was an amateur occultist who spent his life reclaiming the scrapped history of the Necronomicon, collecting loose pages and news clippings from previous outbreaks, including the 2013 cabin fire, to assemble this makeshift 5th volume. The terror is now nomadic. Susan is the keeper, using Alice's raw grief to act as a battery for the ritual. Susan isn't protecting family. She's grooming them for a total family merger under the Kandarian spirit. The Endgame, Volume 6 and beyond. By treating these books as a chronological record, we can see the endgame. The DIY binder is a penultimate stage, humanity's desperate, calculated attempt to harness the fragments before we reach the final manifestation. Volume 6, Evil Dead Wrath. Directed by Francis Gillespie, Wrath is the explosion that follows the fire. Early data suggests a siege thriller vibe, where the infection moves beyond a single building into a full-scale territorial outbreak. The priesthood thought they had figured the world out, but they were only seeing half the picture. The hexology is almost complete. I cannot wait for Evil Dead Burn, and what you heard me say is correct. I do believe that the mother Susan knows about the Necronomicon. I believe that it's her father who had this makeshift DIY Necronomicon version. I think either he made it or he just stumbled upon it. I'm thinking mostly he made the Necronomicon that we see in the trailer, because it's not flesh bound. It looks like a DIY binder, basically. So what I'm thinking is he spent his life tracking the outbreaks from every movie. That's why we saw clippings from the Evil Dead 2013, as well as the cabin fire. And so anyway, he's documenting all these outbreaks, and if for somehow this book gets created and it works, it's alive and the magic works. Don't know how yet, but we'll find that out when the movie comes. But anyway, my theory is the grandfather died. Now, Miss Susan is the gatekeeper of the book. She knows about the Necronomicon and its power. I believe she knows all about it. She knows what it can do. She knows the lore, like her father studied it her whole life, basically, for 3 generations. But she doesn't want to use it because she knows what it does. But her son dies, and I think she kind of, let's just say, grooms or nudges Alice in the direction of the Necronomicon, playing on her grief so that she could read from the Necronomicon, and that would bring back William. Now, that is what my idea is. That's what my theory is going to be about. That's what my theory is about. And how all this starts is by Jessica. Jessica from Evil Dead Rise. Yes, the one from the beginning of Evil Dead Rise as well as the ending. She got possessed. Now, how does she fit into this? We see her in the trailer. She's in the water, she's floating, she turns her hand and the boat flips. Well, if you've noticed, that is not the same exact place from Evil Dead Rise. Because in Evil Dead Rise, they were at a lake, it was summertime, it was spring or whatever. It was nice. It was nice out. It was a nice summer day. What we see in the trailer, the color is different. There's also snow in the background of the mountain, and they didn't have any of that in Evil Dead Rise. So we can cut out that is the same location. That's gone. So Jessica is free roaming somewhere after Rise and is now the start of all of this chaos that ensues in this movie. So we have our antagonist, our main character's husband, William, driving. He's driving along a snowy mountain curve, and all of a sudden, lo and behold, he looks up, and Jessica happens to be floating right in front of him as he's speeding down the road. He slams on his brakes, and as we see in the trailer, he hits her, and they fly over. Now, that is what that is not what kills him. I believe the fire that we see starts is what kills him. I believe that we see Jessica. Jessica is the one that causes the lighter to light, causing the explosion on the in the car. So that's what causes the husband to die. So what does this have to do with Alice? Well, I don't think they know where the body is. They don't know where the body is. They don't know where William's body is at all. When they're having that little funeral for him that we see in the trailer, his body's not in that coffin. They don't know where his body is. So when we see Alice reading from the Necronomicon, yes, he does come back, but he doesn't come back until the end. Towards the end of the movie, he's the big bad. What we see is the infection of the entire family. So yes, the mother, Miss Susan, I believe she's grooming Alice to get her to read the Necronomicon to bring back her son William so that they can all be reunited in one big happy family. She doesn't want to do it herself because she knows the destruction and the power of the Necronomicon. But she said in a trailer she would do anything to be with him again. So that's a big indicator right there that this family isn't who they say they are, or she isn't who she says she is. Um, we don't have Ash this time around, and I don't care. We don't need Ash. I love him if we have him, but we don't really need him. I have a theory that, oh yes, how this bridges and connects Evil Dead Rise more is there is a cameo of Ellie. That's right, Alyssa Southern from Evil Dead Rise. She appears as a manifestation or hallucination to Alice, and I think she says something to Alice like it was only just three, or you thought it was just three, or something of those. It's like a warning. She's given her a warning, so that lets us know that okay, this Necronomicon and that Necronomicon is connected and sort of bleeding into this world, maybe. So I'm starting to wonder if that hexology of the damned I was talking about. I believe they're going back to that original idea of having 6 volumes of the Necronomicon. Because if you think about it, there are only 6. We have The Evil Dead. We're not going to count Evil Dead 2 because that's the same exact book. Go to Evil Dead 3, which is Army of Darkness, which would be volume 2. Then we go to Evil Dead 2013, which is volume 3. Volume 4, which is Evil Dead Rise. And volume 5, which is Evil Dead Burn, which is what we're on right now. And then Evil Dead Wrath will be volume 6. So that was the idea 45 years ago, and they are finally doing it now. It's being proved with Evil Dead Burn and Evil Dead Wrath being made. So that right there lets us know that it's not a retcon. There are actually 6 volumes of the book, and they all have their each. They all have their each all have their own powers and bring about different type of deadites. We have some that are milky eyed, some that are amber eyed, some that are white eyed, pearl eyed. We are also going to see our first possessed animal, adult. We've seen that in the trailer, but we also get to see it finally in the franchise. Well, not finally. If you saw the series Evil Dead, Ash versus Evil Dead, then you will remember in season 1 that when Ash was in his dreamland, he picked up a bird that was dead, and then it kind of reanimated and chirped, and he hilariously threw it against a tree and exploded. So that was the first time they ever brought an animal back to dead, an Evil Dead. So technically, this isn't the first time. Well, it is for the theatrical screening, but for the franchise itself lore, it's not first. But it is for the big screen lore. So, I think I I really don't know. See, Evil Dead is gonna be a different type of movie. Evil Dead Burn. We are getting a French twist with Sebastian Vanacek. And he promised a movie that hurts, that is mean spirited, that is nasty, that makes us come away tested, feeling nasty and brutal. He just wanted to make an angry, mean spirited film. And I believe that is what he has done. I really am still kind of interested in how this Necronomicon works. I broke down the trailer. I would pull up screenshots and pictures, but I don't know how to do that, and I don't fucking care. So I'm teaching myself, and I don't know how to do it right now. Eventually, I'll learn it. But as of right now, I'm streaming my phone, and I'm on my laptop on my TV, um, doing everything else. So once I learn how to pull up images and stuff, then it'll be a little bit better for y'all. Until then, I appreciate if y'all just stick around listening to the story, listening to me in the background. I Evil Dead has got to be my, aside from Aliens, it's got to be it's got to be the most consistent franchise I have seen. Even though they're tonally all different, they're all the same. I don't know. Um, we got someone stumbling upon the book, accidentally reading it, summoning an evil spirit. But this time around, we have a French director, Sebastian Vanacek. And like I said in my theory earlier, I think this mother, this Miss Susan, I think she is trying to manipulate Alice by using her grief against her to get her to read from the Necronomicon to bring William back. She doesn't want to do it herself because she knows She knows the power, she knows the cost of what it's going to do, but she's she's going to keep her hands clean. Basically, she doesn't want to get her hands dirty. What do y'all think about For Evil Dead Burn? What do y'all want to see? I really hope they really explain how this Necronomicon came to be, because it doesn't look like it's made from flesh and blood. It really does look like it is a binder, like a reconstructed DIY binder um, of stuff. And I'm curious as to how it was made and how it works, because the Necronomicons are made from flesh and bound in human skin, ink, and blood, as you can see from all of my Necronomicons I got. This is the one from Evil Dead Rise. Like, they're all written in blood. So yeah, um, I'm really looking forward to Evil Dead Burn. I don't know what else to think of. I do know that I need to learn how to stream more, stream better, and I need to learn how to pull up pictures so that I can drag them into the screen. And I hope that y'all can hear me, because you know what? It'd be a terrible shame if I did this entire stream and I ended it and it turns out y'all can't even fucking hear me. That would be a big ass ripoff and a waste of my time. Anyway, so yeah, like I didn't really go live that long. I just wanted to give my little thoughts and ideas on Evil Dead franchise, where they're going, my theory on the Necronomicon, and yeah. So I'm gonna pass it on to y'all. What do y'all think about all this? What do y'all think in my comments? I know I need to get better at live streaming and pulling up pictures into the stream. I'm still trying to learn how to do all that. I'm new. Okay. So just bear with me. I appreciate that. So with all that said, is that sounds scary? Y'all have a good night. Stay scared.